From the driver's seat of a flamingred Tesla Model S, a young teenage boy sends a text message: "Gotta charge my car, see you in the AM." It's a scene from the family-friendly movie Disconnected, in which the Tesla Model S plays a starring role. The lead character Sean, played by Bridges Adina, makes an eighth journey from Los Angeles up to Santa Cruz. Sean, who is too young to have a driver's license, steals the car from parents' garage in an act of rebellion and desperate teenage desire. He needed an escape route to reach his crush. There's a scene that depicts his journey, window down, wind whipping, as the gigantic 17-inch Tesla screen guides him on his journey up the Pacific Coastal Highway 1, a symbolic break away from the control of his helicopter scientist parents. The only snafu: because he's driving a Tesla, Mom and Dad can track his whereabouts using the Tesla app from a phone. 2 weeks ago, I drove a Tesla Model S p100d along the California coast in a similar racy red hue. I was commuting from San Francisco to Pebble Beach and back for Monterey Car Week, and I also took the long way toward Highway 1, one of the world's most fantastic roads. To get there, I made my way from the clogged Silicon Valley suburbs onto a 2-lane, twisty road surrounded by pine trees, through a bit of mountainous terrain, and, at last, onto wide stretches of road on the edge of the Pacific Ocean. Monterey is north of Big Sur, the section of Pacific Coast Highway that's still closed for repairs after a massive landslide wiped a chunk of it away. It's one of the best weeks to drive to Monterey Peninsula, because of the classic car eye candy that can be seen along the way. But still, I was reminded by the glint of the cloggos all around me on the freeway that I was in Tesla country. I came across at least a dozen Model S drivers, and at one point, several of us were lined up in a queue, as if in formation. There's even a supercharger station in Monterey, which, with 315 miles of range, I was able to reach, without stopping, to charge along the way. It may seem as if the Model 3 hype has stolen away the sheen from its more substantial sports sedan, the original symbol of Tesla grandeur. While the Model 3 earns the title of car the summer, its splashy debut helped nudge the Model S past a tipping point. After 5 years on the road, in many markets, the S is no longer an eccentric outlier, but instead it's the luxury standard bearer, and the obvious car that you see flying by you near wealthy California enclaves. As of the most recent quarter, Tesla has sold 22,026 Model S vehicles this year. Sure, the Tesla p100d customer who can spend $162,000, the sticker price on the Model I tested, can likely also afford another luxury car or two, but it's hard to match the cash and head nods one earns while driving this thing. When it comes to the S exterior design, only slight sculptural changes have been made to the front fascia since it debuted in the 2012 model year. Its understated form is ubiquitous. The S is no longer an eccentric outlier, as Elon Musk pointed out at the Model 3 reveal. The S is still the more desirable car, and the p100d is the top performance dog in its S range. After driving both the 3 and Model S p100d, even for a short time, there's really no direct performance comparison. We've already broken down the differences between the Model S and the Model 3. While Model 3 has early adopter cash, the Model p100d is in another class. It is the ultimate statement car of the moment. More than car makes that come with a higher price tag like Ferrari, Porsche, or McLaren. I'm wealthy. I am forward-thinking. And now, get out of my way. Part of its appeal is that Tesla is playing the numbers game. Though p100d debuted a year ago, we're still talking about its jaw-dropping statistics. A few weeks before I drove this model, as a sideshow during the Tesla Model 3 handover, a Tesla employee demoed Ludicrous Plus mode for me, illuminating Easter egg moments and all. This push of a button earns Tesla the industry best 0 to 60 mph time of 2.4 seconds, and the stomach-dropping delight panic it creates depending on the passenger to brunt intensity. The closest comparison I can conjure is the memory of a delirious Formula 1 three-seater at track in France. But unlike most cars capable of dizzying speeds, it has more practical qualities. Sure, the Tesla is fun to stunt in, but sometimes a mid to full-size sedan can feel cumbersome to handle on more meandering roads. But the Model S really never feels like too much car. It has a 116.5-inch wheelbase, and is 196 inches long, equivalent to the BMW 5 Series, but it handles its girth with grace on winding stretches of pastoral roads. Its design language doesn't blare supercar, so it doesn't feel weird or ostentatious to pull into a diner parking lot. The biggest problem of driving this Model S keeping speed in a sensible range. It's easy to fly. This is one reason to engage autopilot's traffic-aware cruise control as a way to hold back on temptation, capping off highway speeds at 90 mph. I experimented with the newest update of the second-generation autopilot, powered by a version of NVIDIA's Drive PX2, in spurts throughout the drive. Though the car now has 8 cameras as part of its plan to reach full self-driving capabilities, it is only using 4. The cameras add 360-degree visibility and 820 feet of sight. When the icon, which resembles a blue alien, appears signaling access to autopilot functions, I squeezed the lever next to the steering wheel to engage auto steer. As it tracked the lane, it lacked the fluidity of the natural body movements of hand to wheel in its efforts to navigate the road. But I never felt as if I was in a precarious position when it was engaged. On the more beautiful stretches of road, I switched back to the more satisfying sensation of driving. I treated autopilot as the passenger who might hold the wheel when I was slightly distracted, rather than as the student driver who is being tested for proficiency. I did allow it to guide me toward my exit, but I wasn't ready to give up control and put all the system's capabilities to the test. Test driving a press car on unfamiliar public roads is no time to discover my inner stunt driver. I remembered the strict warning about using autopilot in beta at my own risk. Had I lived with this vehicle for a bit longer, I would have tried out its other abilities, such as merging onto another highway and self-parking. But when I longed to use autopilot most, during headache-inducing Silicon Valley commuter traffic on the 280, it wasn't accessible. Tesla isn't ready to let drivers zone out in rush hour just yet. In some ways, what makes the S appealing is its versatility. Its spaciousness makes it well suited toward weekend getaways, and what makes it feel like a larger car. My small carry-on bag was swallowed by the ample trunk space in the rear, and I still had the front trunk at my disposal. It's ideal for the traveler who doesn't travel light. The car I drove on my Pebble Beach journey came off the Fremont, California, assembly line in June. It had a base price of $140,000, and was souped up with another $22,000 of features. Those upgrades included the $5,000 enhanced autopilot, a $3,300 white interior, and $4,500 for 21-inch gray wheels. It also had an all-glass panoramic roof for $2,000, a Sub-Zero package priced at $1,000, and was capped off by the $3,500 premium upgrades package, like a battery range upgrade, red brake calipers, and my favorite nifty feature, bioweapon defense mode, which is an air filtration system salve for allergy sufferers like me, who are often sneezing at the wheel. All these creature comforts, paired with the extended range of the p100d, worked to make the ideal road trip candidate. My primary interactions with the screens were for navigating unfamiliar roads, where charging stations are clearly marked. As my colleague Lauren Good wrote, the displays are easy to interpret. There are no complicated dials or gauges, and the speedometer is in big, bold numerals. One observation using the map on the screen's considerable space felt like the digital version of a roadbook map, splayed across the dash. Even after 5 years, it's too early to say if the Model S will have the staying power of a design like the Porsche 911, a classic which has never really felt out of date. Will we see the same basic Tesla form on the road in 50 years, or are we near the peak of the Model S era? As Tesla works to provide all of its vehicles with full self-driving capabilities, it doesn't seem to be planning for obsolescence. A few months ago, several auto industry leaders said the industry is watching Tesla and talking to its customers. "We have great respect for what Tesla has done," Porsche president and CEO Klaus Zellmer said in an interview. They provided technology that people didn't believe in a luxury segment in a high price point, but they are still not making any money. "I can understand why there is this hype about Tesla. The staying power of the high-end Model S in its current iteration may soon be tested by a number of new electric luxury models by Lucid, Karma, and Fisker. All-electric cars like the Aston Martin Rapid are coming soon, and most recently the Mercedes Maybach electric convertible concept was unveiled.